Today we're going to talk with rom-com author Melonie Johnson, and she has 3 rom-com books coming out, all within the same series this summer. So let's talk to her about how she chose romantic comedies and how she got traditionally published. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, best-selling co-author of the Snow and Her 7 Sails series. On this channel, we talk all about romance writing, specifically for newbie and aspiring romance authors. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I post new videos every Monday. Now today we're going to talk with Melonie Johnson, and I will leave links to her website and her books below. And I'm super excited to share with you her path to traditional publishing because we do talk so much about self-publishing. I want you to know that traditional is still always an option. Tell us a little bit more about you and your new series.
My this month in April is a romantic comedy, contemporary romance, and the first book is Getting Hot with the Scot. And it follows a group of girls who are on vacation. They've been planning this vacation since their college days. And so their dream vacation. And while there, one of the girls literally stumbles across a kilted Highlander, and shenanigans occur from there. And then each book in this series follows one of the friends to their happily ever after. So book 2 will come out. Book 1 is April 30th, book 2, May 28th, book 3, June 25th. So boom, boom, boom.
Great. And they're spinoffs, so they're the same characters, but a new love story in each.
Right. So you follow the same group of friends, but each one kind of takes the leading role in their book.
And so if people like these books, what are the next books they can expect from you?
Well, hopefully they'll get to see the first 3 books this summer. There are 3 of the friends, and there's 5 friends in the group. So hopefully at some point they'll get to see the other 2 girls get their happily ever after. And then from there, possibly we'll see a new group of friends with new challenges coming up in the sometime future. We'll see. We're working on it right now.
So tell us, you finaled in the Golden Heart twice. So tell us how that works and how that helped your career.
So filing in the Golden Heart was amazing. It was an exciting moment, partly because when you first get that, the first time I got that call, I remember I was driving home from the gym and just tears down my face because it's a moment of validation. It's a moment of you're on the right path, or this doesn't suck, or that it connected with someone. I mean, there's so much luck involved in finaling in any contest because there's so many factors. It could be the mood of the judge who read your entry that day. It could be this is someone's, catnip that you happen to get the right judge at the right time. So there's all those pieces, but it's just, like I said, a validating moment that just you feel like, okay, I can do this. And it came at the right time for me. So it really helped me kind of motivate me to go on this journey. And it did in some ways lead to finding my agent. And from there, the book deal.
And I think the biggest part that I don't think people realize is instead of querying agents actually contacted you, right?
Yeah. And this happened, I think when, because we create a little group, and that's the other thing about a Golden Heart final is it's not so much the final itself, but the class. Each year, a Golden Heart class is created of all the finalists. And it's those connections and the friendships that you make within that group who are all kind of in the same place on the publishing journey. We're all kind of in the same moment. And we share what's happening and what's going on and the query process and the book writing process. And yeah, so when I finaled, I was getting emails from agents asking to see my work, which is wild because usually you're begging to show them your work. And with the Golden Heart final, a lot of them came knocking. So it was a good opportunity.
And so that was an easy segue into you going traditional instead of self-publishing, which is something you wanted to do, right?
I wanted to pursue the possibility of traditional first. And if that for some reason didn't pan out, then I would be on the road to indie publishing now. But yeah, it did work out. And it's not always the case. There are plenty of Golden Heart finalists and Golden Heart winners who, for whatever reason, do choose the indie path instead. I just happen to have the stars align in such a way that that this happened, that I was able to pursue traditional publishing, and part of it was part of it was because of the Golden Heart Final. It kind of got the ball rolling.
So now that you have been in the traditional publishing world, what's something new that you have learned that you didn't realize before, or something that surprised you?
I didn't realize how much of this is about marketing. It's more about creating a product, not just creating a book, and not just about the art of writing. It's about the business of creating a product that you can sell to people, to consumers. So the elements that play into what happens to your book, everything from the cover to the title, there are decisions that aren't made purely based on the story. There could be decisions made based on what is currently selling on shelves, or what buyers for different booksellers are looking for. So it's those elements that I was kind of aware of on a peripheral level, but didn't realize how they play into it, so succinctly in the process.
And so how did you decide on romantic comedy, which we know back when you pitched was called contemporary romance?
Yeah, so romantic comedy, I mean, obviously romantic comedies have been around forever, some of my favorite romantic comedies, like back from the 1930s, It Happened One Night with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, I think it was. But so the concept of romantic comedy has been around a long time, but romantic comedies being popular in romance, using that term, I think has just started popping up this past year. And when I was pitching in early 2017, it was pitched as a straight up, contemporary romance, but focusing on the fun, flirty angle. And they are, I feel, pretty funny. And so I kind of happened to be in the right place at the right time, that publishers were looking for those fun, kind of feel good, escape from the real world, just have a good time kind of books. And so, as we are getting ready for the books to be released, romantic comedy definitely fits what they are. And now you're seeing romantic comedy used all the time. When people are marketing their books, they're being marketed as romantic comedies.
Even though it's a romantic comedy, it does have a pretty spicy heat level. So how did you decide on your heat level, and how did it fit with your story?
So as far as the heat level is concerned, when I wrote the books, that's just what my characters did. Like they, enjoyed getting it on. So it's, I don't, and I struggle with this because I think everyone has a personal taste level or a personal marker of what makes something really hot versus what makes something steamy or light. And my books are all open door, but I didn't consider them to be super spicy. But I've had comments and reviews and from various things saying these are really hot books, which is good. I want people to come away from it like, whoo. But going into it, I really didn't think about like, I'm going to make this steamy. It's just, that's how I wrote the books and that's what the characters did. So that's how it ended up. I think at one point my agent even mentioned she wanted to see one more sex scene in my first book. And so I didn't write a new sex scene. I just kind of moved one around because I felt like the book had all the sex scenes it needed. It just needed to be in a different place and it made sense. And now I'm very happy with where that sex scene happens. So
great. And I think that's the best way to write. Like, what does the character want and what does the story dictate versus trying to start out and decide ahead of time?
Yeah, I'm more of a pantser, someone who kind of writes from the seat of her pants than a plotter. I do let my characters take control. And whenever I try to make my characters do something they don't want to do, I struggle. And I just can't, I will be stuck. And the last time I was trying to finish a book on deadline and I wanted things to happen a certain way for plot purposes. And I had one of the friends who would do something that would help get the plot where I wanted it to go. But no matter how I wrote the scene, it wouldn't work. And the reason why it didn't work is because that person wouldn't do that. So I had to step back and say, okay, this character doesn't want to do that. So I'm going to have to figure this out and let it play out organically. And so, yeah, a lot of organic writing, a lot of letting the characters kind of show me the direction things are going to go.
So with all of those books coming out, I mean, 3 books coming out at once is a lot. What does your writing schedule look like?
So I called this past year or so my year of spinning plates, where I would have different things happening in the production process all the time. And it got to be a little bit overwhelming at times. There were weeks where I did not have a lot of sleep and I was kind of a zombie. But it kind of felt like I was back in college in some ways. So I would be working on book one was pretty much finished when when they bought the books, they bought the series. So that just required some revisions. So what started happening is I would be editing book one, drafting book two, outlining book three, and then revising book two, writing book three, copy editing book one. And so there was always a book in a different stage of the process at the same time. And my editor was great about being aware that I had multiple things happening at once and kind of giving me space. But she also, kind of gently nudged me along with some of the deadlines. Like I would, something was due on a certain day and I'm like, oh, I'll get it in by midnight. She'd be like, okay, I need this by this time in the morning. So getting used to dealing with the deadlines and just getting used. And that's something else is that the Golden Heart was great for, was creating a deadline, because when you're an author without a contract, or an author without, even an indie author, once you set, when the book is going to go up on sale, you've created deadlines for yourself. And when you're kind of just writing by yourself, there are no set deadlines, no external deadlines, and it can be easy to let things slide. And so learning how to write under deadline was something I was doing at the same time I was learning how to juggle.
There's a lot of the audience that's just like you, married with children and also doing other jobs. How does that work for your daily writing schedule?
So ideally, I'm lucky in the sense that my other work is audiobook narration, so it's also out of the home, or I go to a studio sometimes, but that's flexible. It's based on my schedule. So I don't have like another job where I have to go and do like 9 to 5 or something. And so when the girls are in school, that is my time. So, but I don't always make the best use of my time. But learning how to like set parameters for myself, like learning how to say no to other things I might have said yes to before I was working under deadline, learning how to let the laundry go or let the dishes go if I need to keep writing or keep working. And that can be difficult when you're in your own home and you see it all and you want to clean it all up. So sometimes I would leave and, write in a coffee shop or write with friends. At one point, when I was having trouble getting the third book rolling, I rented a hotel room for the weekend and just hid out there, no family, no internet, no chores to do, and just, me, bottle of wine, laptop, snacks, and just cranked it out. And, got a good 20,000 words or so started. So I was able to come home and roll from there.
Nice. Yeah, I think I've heard of a lot of moms doing that, just going out to a hotel and just trying to get away from it all without any distractions.
Yeah, it was actually another Golden Heart sister who we kind of created a messenger loop that we sprint together on. So like at any time of the day, often in the middle of the night, it's on Messenger. Are you writing? Yes. It's like 1:00 in the morning. And we'll check in with each other to help keep each other going. And she was the one who did the hotel room when she was on deadline. And it worked so well for her, I borrowed the idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. So speaking of other ideas, what are some mistakes that you think you made that newbie writers could possibly avoid?
So it's kind of a two-sided situation where it's advice that could work two ways. I would say, be ready when the opportunity strikes. So, if you want an agent or a traditional deal, if that's the direction you want to head, get that book as polished as you can make it. And so when you're pitching in a pitch situation, or when you're doing like an online pitch thing, if you get a request, you're ready. You're ready immediately and you hit send, so that you're ready when the opportunity strikes and you don't miss it. At the same time, if an opportunity comes your way that you weren't expecting, because you're in this industry and you're kind of figuring things out and you're going to conferences and you're meeting people, maybe someone says they're looking for, a particular type of story and you have that story, but you don't feel it's ready, don't be afraid to go ahead and jump on that opportunity, just because don't let your fear of not being ready stop you from at least trying. Because worst case scenario, you get to revise and resubmit, or, but at least you've tried. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's good advice. So since you are all about romantic comedies, what are some of your favorite romantic comedy novels?
Romantic comedy novels. So let's see. I used to love to read Jennifer Cruzy. So some of her older ones I feel like fall under the romantic comedy banner. And then this summer I'm looking forward to reading Alicia Rye's Right Swipe. And then I did listen to the audiobook of The Hating Game, which I thought was great. And I thought the narrator did such a good job with Lucy. And as far as like romantic comedies go, I love, actually, like Shakespeare has some great romantic comedies, Much Ado About Nothing and As You Like It, and even Midsummer Night's Dream, I feel like is a romantic comedy. So
awesome. All right, you ready for the speed round?
Yes.
Okay. Mac or PC?
PC.
Scrivener, Word, or Ulysses?
Word. Honestly, I don't even know what Ulysses is.
It's just like Scrivener, but it's for the Mac only, which is probably why you've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Trainwreck or Isn't It Romantic?
Neither. It took me a minute to remember that I've seen Trainwreck, and it was fine, but I would not put that in my list of favorites. I would go with 10 Things I Hate About You. It's one of my top favorite rom-coms. Some Kind of Wonderful is another favorite. So
cool. And then ice cream or cocktails?
Cocktails, always.
What's your favorite cocktail drink?
So I think my favorite is probably, I like any cocktail that starts with the letter M. So if it's a margarita or a mule or a mimosa, a mojito, I'll drink it. But I think my favorite is called a Dark and Stormy, and it's ginger beer and dark rum with some lime.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.